All right, all right. Hello, hello, Twitch. Hello, hello, YouTube. We are getting started with the show. How are we doing today? I hope we're doing well. Hello to Jade Early Gang showing up here right at the start here. Probably more timely than me as far as getting the stream started. I am Jimmy Moreland, veteranaudio.com. We're going to be doing some live auditions today. How are we doing today? It is Monday. I hope everyone had a good weekend. We are doing live auditions on voices.com, voice123.com, and ACX.com. And then we may do some live audiobook narration of an actual booked book that we've got. It all really depends on whether my neighbors with their yard work implements all sort of, we'll see if they cooperate. We've got a little bit of light rain, and that might keep the leaf blowers and the lawn mowers in their tool sheds for the time being, and we're fingers crossed for that. Our booth is excellent at keeping rain noise out, not so great at the really loud yard work that happens right next door. Got a boomer next door who loves nothing more than to mow his lawn 5 times a week. Bless him, he's got a beautiful yard. But we're going to jump in here. Let's head over to voices.com where we always start. We just earlier today, I posted a video that was sort of a walkthrough of an audiobook deal I did not too terribly long ago. That was like a barter deal where I basically traded audiobook production services for a banjo. And it was a lot of fun. Great book. It's a memoir of this salty old sea captain up here in Maine. And there was some other unique aspects to that audiobook, and it was really fun. And so I posted a video that has some excerpts from the real audiobook to where you can hear some of the things I'm talking about. I'm going to try like weekly to release some pre-produced content where it's, tightly scripted. It's not just me free associating and stumbling over my words like I do when we're trying to do the live stream. But hopefully folks get some value out of that, and it's sort of easier to digest than the daunting thing of like, oh, a 2-hour live stream? Like, yeah, sure, I'm going to watch that. I get it. I totally do. But let's jump in here. Let's refresh voices. Okay, top job here. Already 100 responses in line ahead of us. Holy. And how long ago did this go up? 26 minutes ago, I'm seeing here. So that's just how it goes for these better paying jobs. And it's super, super short. It's only 7 seconds. Let's look at it. Don't try this at home. Try this at home. Okay, we get it. Online video game on their smartphones. Part of me is skeptical whether this is legitimate. Usually the smartphone app ads, I don't want to say that they're not legitimate and that like maybe this is a real project, but I just get a little bit of my spidey sense tingles a little bit when it comes to, especially if it's like an online, like a faux gambling type of game. It's just like, man, I don't know. Those companies tend to be a little bit fly by night, but again, maybe this is super legitimate, but there are 100 people in line ahead of us, so we're gonna pass on that one. This one here, I can just tell just from the title. This is a client who posts quite frequently, but the copy is not always written in a way that is super comfortable for native English speakers to deliver. So I think that they could probably use, a hand on localization, and maybe they get people who sort of help as they narrate, as they do the voicing, people sort of help them out. I'm not interested in doing that work and not being compensated extra for it. And usually these jobs are pretty low budget. Also, we're only an 80% voice match. For all those reasons, we're passing. The live audition live stream, more like the passing on auditions live stream. I know that's what it seems like we do, but this is how you respect your own time as a voice talent. Not all of your work should be coming from these pay-to-play websites. You should have a direct marketing engine running at some point. You should have outside lead generation to try to find voiceover work. You can't trust in the pay-to-play websites to just be like the one-stop shop for a whole career. Just doesn't work that way. It's one of many streams of income. So let's take a look here. Again, 65 people in line ahead of us. That's near the threshold that I might consider, but it is past it. It's so unlikely we'll be listened to. We're going to move on. Jade, absolutely. Jade says navigating the pay-to-play websites quickly is super invaluable, especially on voices.com, where like being quick is the entire name of the game there. We can be a little bit more leisurely and deliberate on Voice123, but on Voices, you got to be fast. You got to be first. And speaking of first, we are 76th in line. This has me convinced. Starting tomorrow, we're gonna move the stream up an hour. This is brutal, like showing up late to all these jobs. And granted, yeah, like this one came in at 5:55 a.m. I'm not starting my stream at 6 a.m. Thank you very much. But maybe tomorrow we'll try a 1 p.m. Eastern time start time, and see if that's useful. So we'll try that out. 90 people in line ahead of us. Like Penske, like what a client that would be to get. Like that would be amazing. Luxury wine, that's a really fun read. I love like any luxury read where you just get to get on top of the mic and just, love that. But we're late. We're just too late. Granted, and some of these are going to be things that rolled in over the weekend. I'm of two minds. Like on the one hand, like I really don't take days off. Like I'm always doing something. But for as far as the pay-to-play websites, I will often take the weekends off because usually like a couple of jobs will like they'll trickle in over the weekend, but it's not something that it's like worthwhile to like camp out in your booth and like wait for those Saturday and Sunday voiceover auditions to come in. Like they really don't. It doesn't work that way. So rather than do that, I'll do other things. I'll be writing scripts, or I'll be editing a podcast, or I'll be doing some music of some kind. There's lots of other things that you can be doing when you don't have active voiceover stuff coming in. 60 responses ahead of us, and we're only at 90%. This is a phone menu system. It's a phone system menu, sort of an IVR is what they tend to be called. Those are great jobs if you can get them, because there's often follow-on work that comes later. You'll record it today, and then they go like, oh, we want a special Memorial Day, on hold message. And so they call you back, and yeah, it's only like 10 seconds of new dialogue, new copy that you have to read, but that's a whole session fee. That's $200 or whatever your session fee is for reading that 10 seconds of copy. And so that's great if you can get it. So we do love these kinds of jobs, but too many people in line ahead of us. We're not going to bother here. Something just came in while we were blabbing away, it looks like. FTUE instructor, we're 90%, which is fine given how early we are. Decent budget, depending on what the actual thing. VO for a tutorial level where the voiceover guides the player on the game controls and mechanics. I play a lot of games. I know exactly what we're talking about. U.S. or British accent. There's more useful notes here. Somewhat formal, sounding like instruction given by an instructor rather than a drill sergeant. I believe I actually have a sample, I believe, because I'm a veteran, and so I spent some time around drill sergeants, and so everyone who goes through basic training comes out with a wide variety of skills. Among those is a drill sergeant impersonation. Well done. Get to the ladder and press W. Press space to jump. Jump from platform to platform to reach the goal. Now jump in the hole. Press and hold C to crawl. Oh, come on. Who leaves the keybind C? Left control gang all the way. Come on. That's a crime to actually chill with C as your crouch command. We're going to go ahead and do this. This is right up our alley. Well done. Go to the ladder and press W. Press space to jump. Jump from platform to platform to reach the goal. Now jump in the hole. Press and hold C to crawl. Feel the thrill. Interact with the crate to break it open. Pick up the power box and place it on the converter. Let's left control. That's right. Jade knows what I'm talking about. Left control gang all day. I feel like the C for crouch, I feel like that's I feel like 15 years ago, first-person shooters, you would never see C as a crouch. Like, I don't think Counter-Strike ever had a default of C. So maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it's newer. Maybe they're accounting for like different keyboard layouts, like especially for smaller laptops where maybe they don't even have a left control. I don't know. It just seems really strange to me. I could never get used to that. Even games where it's like, oh, there's C to crouch, or I bind it to left control to crouch, and then there's also a go prone button. That just always makes me roll my eyes like, okay, now I'm going to be using Z or X to prone. Like, come on. All right. Let's reread the notes here to make sure we're in the right headspace here. Somewhat formal, sounding like an instruction given by an instructor rather than a drill sergeant. All right. I wish we knew more about the genre or the Lightbringer's Power Blaster. Sprint through the mines. I'm just trying to get a sense for, like, is this science fiction? Is this fantasy? Is this a military sim? It seems like we're sprinting through mines and we've got Lightbringer's Power Blaster. This sounds science fiction to me. And they're also slightly preferring a British accent. Well, they included the reference, so let's watch the reference. Little Big Planet, good. So can we hear that? Okay. Okay, so that's a very Eric Idle kind of sound. So we're not going to try to do a British accent for this. It'd be sort of a careful what you wish for thing if we actually booked it. And it's like, okay, now you're going to do all this other stuff in a British accent that you may or may not actually be able to maintain for a whole gig's worth of copy. So with that in our brains, now we're going to narrate it in our natural accent, but with that kind of feeling. Well done. Go to the ladder and press W. Press space to jump. Jump from platform to platform to reach the goal. Now, jump in the hole. Press and hold C to crawl. Feel the thrill. That sounded like ad copy. Feel the thrill. This is a strange line. Feel the thrill. Interact with the crate to break it open. Pick up the power box and place it on the converter. Follow the yellow markers. Please do not linger. Move along now. Check around. There's cool stuff to collect. Pick up this potion. Press I to go to your inventory. Locate the potion and consume it. When you walk, press Shift to sprint. Sprint through the mines to reach safety. We're going to cut it off there. I'm quite sure we've got 50 to 60 seconds of material there. But let's edit what we've got and see where we are. Okay. We've got loads of crazy mouth noise. I apologize for everybody out there listening to the unedited, unfettered. We're going to do something a little cheeky here. In order to get a perfect sort of transition, if you will, from sample to sample, we're going to copy and paste this 0.4 seconds so that between every single one of these samples, there's a consistent gap. So let's hear what that sounds like for the first one to see if this is the right gap that we want. It's a little too short. It's a little fast. So we're going to grab this 0.75 seconds and see if this is a little better. That feels a lot better. You don't want it, obviously you don't want it to be too long, otherwise they're gonna like hello. So this is a pretty good happy medium, I think. When did I actually get this one right? It's this one, and then did I get it here? Not super happy with that read, but again, we want it, being early is better than being perfect. Well, we're gonna have to go with what we got. Being fast is better than being perfect. There we go. All right. Deleting those little mouth clicks, even though RX would probably grab that stuff. Let's take a look here. So I think this right here, this line here it best represents, I think, the tone that this entire script is probably kind of intended to go for. But this is the first time that they've really given us copy that reflects that. So again, if we were being perfectionists, once I've gotten to and sort of been able to take this into my analysis of the script, I would probably start over and redo the entire audition with these two lines in mind. And I think that my delivery of "move along now" is the strongest delivery in the entire copy, but we'll see. Okay. And that's the end. And that puts us just short of 50, and that's okay. We're going to do our crossfades. We're going to turn on RX D-click, and we're going to bounce this out. FTUE, FTUE, instructor. Enter, enter. Reply to job. Let's see how many people cut in line in front of us. 11 people got in already. That's how it goes. I told you, you got to be quick. Now, if we weren't, chatting this whole time, running through stuff, let's see here. Don't I have, let's see here. We're in right. Pro Tools bounces, voiceover auditions. Here it is. Yeah, we spend so much time chatting on the live stream that maybe we missed out on some opportunities because we're a little slower than we otherwise would be. But that's okay. This is it's better for me professionally that I have like a set time that I am in the booth working every day. The value of that is more than anything. So thank you, live stream viewers, for keeping me accountable. That's what this is all about. It's all about me, not you. Okay, news reporter for professional children's platform. Curious. But is it an audiobook, or did they just like choose that just because? I mean, this is all interesting. It's only, it's 5 minutes worth of copy, and we don't in the lowest price bucket that they've got. So even if we quoted this at the very max, the most we would get paid, because Voices takes 20%, the most we would get paid is basically $80. That's the max we could get for 685 words. Sorry, I'm just not gonna. Best of luck to this client, but that's not for us. And boy, would we love to get this, but there are 123 people in line ahead of us. So we're going to pass on that one. We're going to keep this tab open, though, so that when these emails come in, we can quickly address those. So now let's look at the ones that we've let simmer a little longer, because that's more of an okay thing to do on Voice123. One thing I need to do real quick, though, is I need to open up each of these ads while not having the screen being displayed to make sure that the client names are all obscured. And it looks like all of these clients have their names randomized, or anonymized rather. So that's good. So we are good to go. We are starting at the top here. Actually, no, let's start by doing the easy eliminations. So down here, they've requested 25 proposals and they've gotten 40. So it's very unlikely that will be listened to at all. So we are going to just hit that little X, make that go away. Same thing here. They requested 25. They've got 31. We're going to make that one go away. And the rest of these 5, they're not overcrowded with auditions here. This one says looking for a quote. We're very likely to pass on anything that's looking for a quote, unless we get a strong indication of what the client is prepared to pay. Sometimes they'll say looking for a quote, but then they'll put in like, oh, like the client, has this budget in mind. It's like, my brother in Christ, just put that in the payment field. Let's see here. I'm skeptical about these 4 letters up here, RFKJ, and it says it's a fake debate with some cartoons. So is this like a jib-jab kind of thing for my... You got to be of a certain age to understand, like, what the hell, jib-jab. I guess they're trying to get someone to do an RFK Jr. voice would be my guess here. Just with my context clues, I'm guessing that they want someone to do an RFK Jr. voice. Now, there are personal reasons why I wouldn't want to get involved with that, but a professional reason I wouldn't want to is because RFK Jr., if you've never heard him speak, he has a legitimate medical condition that causes his vocal cords to constrict. It's not the same thing that Diane Rehm has. Diane Rehm of NPR fame, just legendary broadcaster. But he's got I don't know if it is the same condition, but he has I don't know if it's a neurological or purely physical condition that causes a sort of a constricted sound to his vocal cords. And I am not at all interested in doing an impersonation of someone who has a medical condition that affects how they sound. That's not what I'm about. That so quickly will delve into mean-spiritedness, and that's just not what I'm about. So for that, apart from the other reasons that I wouldn't be interested in this project, that's reason enough. So we're gonna pass. We're gonna pass on that one. I don't know how you cast that. I guess you just have to find someone who doesn't have that that qualm, doesn't have that problem with doing a voice like that. Which is not to say I'm judging those talent. It's just for me, that's my personal standard that I'm not going to do something like that. But let's go to the top here. Codal Co VO, internal usage. They've got a set budget. Where is it? 180. Really standard. This is super boilerplate. I'm curious about where we've got some pronunciation work in here. Chuquicamata, I think that's probably Chuquicamata. Radomiro Tomic Division. Ministro Alice, I bet that's Alice and not Hales, but Alice. And then Gabriela Mistral Division. I bet that's Mistral, not Mistral. Those are just my... Oh, and we've got... I bet REF could... I bet these are someone pronouncing those. So let's see together how good we were. Tomic. I'm like 5 for 6 on those pronunciations. Alice, I was correct. What was the other one? The one I didn't get is Tomic. Tomich, that is not standard Spanish pronunciation at all. Like that C, you wouldn't really see that in Spanish generally anyway. But whatever, we feel good about our whole ass minor in Spanish. That that's the extent of how we use it nowadays, is maybe getting some pronunciations right. All right, so we're gonna do this one because it does not seem that they are okay. With the script, it's attached an audio reference of Spanish words. Please listen to it carefully. The mood is smooth, friendly, fresh, and young. I can be friendly. I can be fresh. I might even be smooth. But young, I don't know that I am. But I feel good, especially because they have not indicated at all that they are looking for, like, this isn't going to be a bilingual spot where they're going to cut two different versions in two different languages, hoping to use the same voice talent. Perhaps they already have a Spanish language voice talent, and for whatever reason, maybe that talent doesn't speak English, but they really want an English cut, and so here they are. And it looks like, let's see here, in induction for new staff at the district project management. So, like, it seems like they are probably looking for like a general, like, American, like North American accent. So a broad general American accent is probably what they're looking for. But obviously when we pronounce these words, we want to be accurate, especially given that they've given us a reference. Long walk for a short drink of water. All right, here we go. Welcome to the induction video for new staff at the District Project Management of Codelco. In this video, we will explore the importance of risk management at work and how we apply the ICMM bow tie methodology to ensure a safe environment in our operations. In our management, we provide services for the 4 divisions of the district. Let's unhighlight that. That's making it hard to read. Chuquicamata Division, Radomiro Tomic Division, Ministro Ales Division, and Gabriela Mistral Division. In each of these divisions, we face a series of critical risks that must be effectively managed. Next, we will explore the 10 critical risks identified by our management and the measures we have implemented to mitigate them. Okay. That felt all right. We may redo that opening line. I feel like we probably weren't as smooth, friendly, fresh, and young as they are probably looking for. But I think if we can get that feel for the opening line, I felt good enough about the rest of it. So let's listen to ourselves here. Oh, let's make sure that we're copying, pasting the correct duration room tone here. We did just hear our email ding. Let's see if it's a voices.com. No, it's not. It is totally unrelated. I think that's fine. I'm not going to reread that at all. We're good. Here we go. And let's see here. When do I get it? This took me a few tries, I believe, but I think maybe here. Did I get it here? Here, we're going to actually eliminate this breath just for the sake of pacing. Shorten this gap here, but keep the breath. Make it even shorter. Wait, what's going on here? Okay, so let's preserve this breath and see if it fits with the new line that we've got here. I think it's fine. Okay, I'm going to call that good enough. All right, Codelco, VO. Accept invite. There are only 9 people in line ahead of us. Let's. I am going to put a note here. I am more or less conversational in Spanish and will be happy to work with you on getting all the pronunciations exactly correct. And then just do that, leave the rest. I always say that, like, everybody, we contain multitudes. Everybody has a unique background. There is no, like, one path to being a voiceover talent. Like, we all have our different backgrounds. And there are things in your background, whatever it is that you do, whatever you've done, there are things in your background that make you unique in this business, and you can leverage those. There are ways to leverage those things, whether it be in a simple note to a client that sort of humanizes you to them right off the bat or makes you memorable in some way. Or it might be an actual special skill that you can bring to bear, such as a rudimentary, at least, grasp of Spanish, for example. It does come in handy from time to time. Let's see here. Health first radio spot. Baby line. Am I supposed to be a baby? I'm probably not a baby. Oh, look, he's walking. That's it. Just one line. I'm gonna pass on this one. I'm not a parent. Kids aren't my thing. And so trying to deliver this like with the real feeling and authenticity that a parent who has said these words with that, deep, profound emotion of, look, he's walking. That just isn't in my soul. I know we're supposed to be actors and we're supposed to be able to embody any kind of character or situation, but that's a case where we just don't have that one. So we're going to move on. This one, no one has submitted. If something has been up for a while and no one has submitted, there's usually a reason. But let's find out. It's a decent budget. But are we playing the role of right here. Talent must be authentically Japanese. You love to see that. You love to see that this client cares about authenticity in their casting. So somewhere out there, maybe they're on West Coast time and they're getting up later than even we are, even though we're feeling like we're really late to the game today. The West Coast folks, it's an early day for them. So maybe someone out there will be some authentically Japanese talent who will spot this job and get it. And good luck to them. That's awesome. You really do love to see when clients are informed and they care about that. This is an audiobook, and it does appear to be from the client that posts a lot of audiobooks on voices.com. But the budget is just outside the range that we consider for ourselves. Although, given that it's a children's book, right? Okay. So it's a kid's book, which I've done many audiobooks. I've never done a kid's book. Again, that's another am I authentically sort of able to occupy the headspace of someone reading to a child? I don't know. If I were doing that in real life, Like if there was a child in the booth next to me and I was reading to them, I would be extremely uncomfortable. I'd be like, "Where are your parents? Get out of here! Don't touch that." I'm gonna break the microphone. So because it's a children's book, that makes it less likely for us to do it. The budget, because this actually is one case where they've got a decent budget. They understand that usually they are offering $100 per finished hour, that's not something that we will consider. That is way too low of a rate. However, they understand that you need a minimum one finished hour bill. Like, I'm not going to do an audiobook and like allow you to bill me for 30 minutes out of a finished hour. Like, the minimum chunk is one finished hour. You got to give me one finished hour, no matter how short or long. Like, that's it. Above an hour, you subdivide, you round to the minute usually. But below an hour, it's an hour. That's the minimum. So they do seem to understand that. This book will come in at around like 35, maybe 40 minutes. Maybe 40 minutes, because children's books tend to be read a little slower. One thing I do think it's interesting that they do not explicitly mention is that they're probably looking for Black or African American talent here. It's a story about Juneteenth. Like, that's not to say that, white people can't tell this story, but like, really think of the target market. Like, chances are there are going to be more Black parents buying this book for their kids than there are white parents, or parents of Black children. Let's say that, not to exclude our adopting families out there. And so, generally speaking, you would expect that they would be looking for a narrator who also fits those demographics. So for all of those reasons, we're passing on this one. It's not for us. As important as that story is, and even though we are a native of Texas, where, much of the Juneteenth history stems from, we're still not the right voice for that, and that's okay. Let's reload ACX. We're moving right along. We're moving on to ACX, and let's see here. Let's apply our filter. Actually, let's wait to apply our filter. Let's look at them one by one and sort of understand like what we're seeing here. So we have seen everything older than the black sun. So we've seen everything further down here, but up above here, it looks like we've got, what is that, 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six new titles in our chosen price bucket, $200 to $400 per finished hour. And starting from the top down, a problem that we see is that ACX right now, they're in the middle of a bunch of updates, ACX right now is not remembering all of our filter preferences. It seems to have a really good time remembering our price bucket, which is great. That would be the first thing that would annoy me, because if you are in like the royalty share price bucket, then instead of seeing only 22 projects in our queue right now, there would probably be hundreds. Like, there are a lot more royalty share projects on ACX than there are projects that pay in a good market rate per finished hour. But one filter that it consistently forgets is gender. So this first one here, they're looking for a female narrator. I'm not going to submit an audition. That would be silly. This one, it also forgets the accent filter. So this one, they are looking for a British narrator. Obviously, like, I just saw a TikTok of a good friend, a narrator. She's from Texas. As far as I know, she is a native Texan. And a good portion of her audiobook work, she narrates in a British accent. And she does a lot of romance, and romance isn't something that I listen to in my day-to-day life. But I had never heard her. I didn't know that she did this until I saw this TikTok today, where she was talking about that's how she narrates, and she slipped into her British narrating accent, and it was like, it's flawless. And she was posting this because she went to a convention where a bunch of her listeners were there, like, to meet the author, and the narrator's here too, like, let's meet the narrator. And she was like saying like, howdy y'all, basically, and these people were shocked to hear this American and even Texas accent come out of this narrator. And so she like posted the TikTok like, sorry if I shocked some of y'all, like this is my real accent, but and she went into the British accent like, you may have heard me sounding like this. Super amazing. Like someone to be able to, it is one thing to do an audiobook where I'm narrating in this voice, the voice that I narrate in, my regular voice, and there are characters who have different accents. That's one thing. You can study up and you can get to where you need to be for a character. But to narrate the whole book in an accent that isn't your native accent, that requires like a proficiency, a fluency, a like mental comfort in that accent that I do not possess for any other accent except for my general American accent and my Texas accent that I can naturally slip into sometimes without even knowing it, especially if I'm talking to older folks. When I'm talking to older folks, the ma'ams and the sirs come out. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. That's sort of a natural thing for me. So I can definitely, I'll narrate a Western. I'll give you that Sam Elliott. I'll read you some True Grit. But I am not the guy to try and narrate an entire collection of poems by Eurydice. I'm pretty sure is how you pronounce this. Eurydice. I'm not the guy. And so we're going to skip it. Next, another title looking for a female narrator. Next, another title looking for a female narrator. Another title looking for a female narrator. But we've got exposure therapy. Now, based on the cover and the title, I don't know if we want to do this, but let's take a look at what this is about. While attempting to overcome their greatest fears, 5 college students discover something far more terrifying. So this is going to be horror, but the genre is teen and young adult. YA is, I believe, the biggest genre in general literature and in audiobooks as well. I believe YA has more titles in it than any other genre. So it's a good place to be. If you can succeed in YA, then you're going to be set. But I'm curious how far into like the horror range it delves. I've narrated horror and I'm happy to do it. But if it gets into the more like gore / grindcore, all of these other descriptors that come up, I don't know if that's for me. Let's look at the script though. Ash approaches both of us. I'll never admit it to Alex, but there's something about seeing her for the first time each day. We've got some interesting quotes here. Banging some broads. Okay. So here's another annoying thing. The ACX has long had this issue with the formatting, especially if you're trying to copy and paste into any field, but particularly in messages directly with an author or rights holder. Typically, I try as quickly as possible, once a certain level of trust has been established, I will try to move off of the ACX platform and into email. Just because the ACX messaging service is just so bad. You want to stay with the ACX messaging service, however, because if there ever is a dispute, if you have kept communications on the ACX platform, then ACX staff can adjudicate and they can look at your messages and know that they are authentic and no one has, tampered with screenshots of an email or a text. So that would be why I would recommend develop and be sure of a certain degree of trust. And for me, that means we've done an entire audiobook together. Or a deposit has been paid. That's good too. There needs to be some kind of, okay, we have fully transacted and we both have skin in the game. Because otherwise you can really come into some really unfortunate issues. If you spend enough time on the audiobook narrator Facebook groups, you'll start to see some horror stories of ways things that can go wrong. And sometimes it's, just miscommunication or a lack of good communication. So for that reason, I keep communication on ACX, but it's terrible. ACX communication is terrible because you get things like this. Your quotes, like these are supposed to be quote punctuation marks, but they get converted into this. I don't know if that's like raw HTML. I'm trying to remember what this is, but whatever this code is, this format is that it's been converted to. Likewise, your line breaks get lost in the ACX system. So I really wish, rather than letting people copy paste into this just garbage conversion, I wish they would insist on authors uploading a .doc or PDF or even a plain text file would be better than this garbage. If you are an author or a rights holder, then you clearly have access to a word processor, right? That's a big portion of your job is processing words. So why can't you output a text or doc or PDF? Please ACX, please make this exclusively an upload option, because if it's a doc or a PDF or a text, then I can even format it myself. Can't really do that with a PDF unless you get really crazy, but for a doc or a text, I can format that myself. But at the same time, don't let people upload wild formats. I've seen dot slides, and I think that's exclusively an Apple, their answer to PowerPoint. And that's just the silliest thing ever. We've got a Voice123 job that just came in. So this book, 5.5 hours, that's, it's a bit short, but sometimes a short project is nice. It's nice to be able to just knock something out in a few days. But I think we're probably going to pass. Let's look at it on the Amazon page. These are the kinds of things that you should be doing when you're considering a project, especially royalty share. But even on the per finished hour stuff, I want to make sure that I'm actually excited about narrating something before I commit to it. And so you like to look at, there's only 5 reviews. Okay, how long has this thing been out? It's actually been out for a little while. That's fine. If it had 5 reviews and it was published this morning, I would be super, super suspicious that these were all AstroTurf fake reviews. They might be. Going 5 for 5, that's impressive, I guess, but it could be suspicious. But let's take a look here. Okay, these were all posted on, let's see. Well, these 2 were posted on the same day, so that's a little suspicious. If all 4 of these were posted on the same day and had similar content, I'd be all right, these are fake reviews. But maybe these are all the same. I'm trying to look for other for grammatical markers. Here, there's all this missing punctuation. There's no comma here. There's no apostrophe here. But here, this person uses apostrophes and tends to use punctuation. So okay, maybe these are all legitimate. So those are all good signs that lend credence to that this is a good project, well written, all that good stuff. So there's something terrifying. We don't know what it is, and good for them. You shouldn't give it away, obviously. Just on the we can read the sample here. This actually might be way more valuable than reading the audition. Okay, so we're just scrolling through, looking for anything that jumps out to us. This is definitely I guess these are high school kids or college or whatever they said. These are kids. Is this meant to be set in the 90s? What is this Freddie Prinze Jr. reference? Does anyone watching this know who the hell Freddie Prinze Jr. is? He was he was in 5 of the biggest movies back to back to back, and then he disappeared forever. I mean, it's definitely very natural and realistic seeming dialogue here, total shitstorm, calling someone a douche rocket. That's the kind of silly stuff that I absolutely would say when I was this age. So it's good, natural dialogue. that seems to be time appropriate and everything. But it does look like they're probably looking for a younger narrator than us. I don't know if they actually have an age range. I mean, just genre is teen and young adult. Character age is young adult. So we're gonna pass on this one. Just protect our opportunity cost, save ourselves the time, and we're gonna pass on this one. As fun as it might be. Jade remembers Freddie Prinze Jr. Okay, just to satisfy our curiosity, it's like sometimes like when you think of someone you haven't thought of for a long time, you're just like, oh, I wonder what they, not just what are they up to nowadays? What do they look like nowadays? I don't know if you've seen Dane Cook recently, but that was like, I was shooketh for sure. Let's see what Freddie Prinze Jr. looks like nowadays. All right, Freddie Prinze Jr. Let's see what he's looking like. Let's just hit images. He looks great. He looks great. Looks the same as he always did. I don't know how recent these are, but they look like, usually you'll see something relatively recent. In fact, this one is like a where are they now? So, good for him. Looks great. I hope I look like that when I'm his age. How old is he? We're going down a deep rabbit hole, folks. He's only 48. I don't know. I thought he was way older than me. He's not that much older than me. But he looks great. I hope I look that good at 48. The fun journeys that we are taking on this stream. All right, what we're gonna do now, I think it's time to do some actual work. Since we're here and we're only an hour through the stream, we're gonna do some genuine audiobook work. So I'm going to briefly, we're going to jump over to my other project file. There we go. Where we are going to work on the book Accidental Healer. Again, this is a real audiobook that I'm actually getting paid to produce. And we'll be jumping in. Oh, you know what? We left off. We need to finish the proofing of this one. So we're going to open up Positron. We're going to run through the last round of proofing and see if we need to do pickups on that last chapter that we uploaded. And so maybe we'll get to see the pickups process. That could be fun. So here we are. We are in Positron. And chapter 6 is the last chapter that we uploaded. And it says there are 61 open pickups to be checked. Now, I believe the vast majority of these are going to be Positron's beta testing noise detection. And so far, we have found the beta test noise detection to be outrageously over-calibrated. It is detecting like normal breaths as gasps and sneezes, and it's a little bit offensive, Positron. But so what we're going to do first of all is we're going to filter out all of the beta test noise detection stuff, and so that just dropped us down to a much more manageable amount of pickups to look at. So starting from the top, make sure that the audio starts at the beginning of the chapter. Yep. It says that, okay, this is another mistake because it's for some reason trying to grab something from the prior chapter. We can just hit OK without listening there. Here, it doesn't like the way I said this truncated version of the word just. The author wrote it as justs, but let's hear how I read it. Hopefully that's a little bit more legible now that I've zoomed in. So let's hear how I read it. I think I read it fine. Next, word missing, and. That is legitimate. Like, the author intentionally wrote the word and twice. I don't think that's a typo. That's like just a natural, like, and don't bother like that. So we are going to mark that as a pickup. Next. This actually is a typo. So we're going to copy this text. We're going to go to our, oh boy, where are we going to go? We've got a document somewhere. We're going to come off of here while I navigate my Google Docs tree so that you don't get to see all the secret stuff I'm working on. Let's go to, where's the notes? Here we go. Come down here and Control Shift Space. Okay. And come on back to positron and come back to full screen. Okay, so this one is we're going to mark it as a typo. Next, apparently I swapped across for along. I did indeed read the wrong word, so that is a pickup. What do we got here? I read that incorrectly as well. That's a pickup. What do we got here? I'm fine with how I read that. That's fine as well. Sometimes it thinks it hears something and it doesn't. This is a spot that we were aware of. This is a typo that we corrected, but it just isn't reflected in the copy. But we're confident in the way that we read that. Okay, I have a pickup there. It's so funny. Like Positron has a hard time with abbreviations, with like reading out years. So if you ever have like 2024 or 2024, either way you read it, it'll always mark that as, maybe that's useful, like just to check, make sure you got the year right. I don't know, but it always marks things like this, F350, like even this text, like, yeah, F350, that's right. Whatever. Here, something strange is going on here. Interesting. I guess while I was reading it, I just skipped a whole line. That's a pickup. Or maybe while I was editing, I like misclicked or something that caused like an entire clip to be erased. So, but that's why we use positron to catch those kinds of things. What do we got here? I definitely read Roderick, so that's fine. What do we have here? Okay, that's correct. And maybe one more. Okay. The way I read it feels more natural to me, but I trust that the author meant what he wrote when he wrote, and ask, what the hell was he thinking? So, like, basically, I'm going to insert a pause after the word ask, and then this becomes almost like it's in quotes. So in my head, I will imagine that there are quotes, and that'll make a lot of sense. So we're going to mark that as a pickup. And then confirming, yeah, that is the end of the chapter. So we hit OK there. So if we go back to the main book here, we can see we've got 6 pickups for this chapter, which is totally fine and normal. But we get to do export, proofing report, and just everything default is like perfect. You don't really need to mess with any of these things here. Actually, what's here? Wait, is this actually going to... Ooh, they might have changed things. They did change things. I hate that. I hate that. I need a pickup packet. I need it to be the online version of the pickup packet, please. So pickup packet, online version. There we go. We're just going to let it do all pickups, and we're going to just hope that everything is correct. So the one change that you'll make is not proofing report, because that generates an Excel document. And as much as I like Excel, we want the online version of the pickup packet, because usually what I'm doing, if I'm not working on stream like this, I have a tablet over here off of this screen, and I'll just open up my Chrome browser on my tablet, navigate to Positron, generate this pickup, the online version of the pickup packet right there on my tablet, and I'll read it off there. And so it very much is like, it's the same posture, the same position. It's just like I'm narrating from the book, but it's just the pickups. So let's take a look at the pickup packet. And hello? Here we go. Okay. So it's showing me I've got 6 pickups, yada, yada, yada. But we scroll down here and we see So this is super cool. Not only, so the most important things here, it gives you the text, the context around where you need to fix. It highlights the thing that you need to fix. The most important thing is that it gives you the exact time code in the chapter. So, because I've got Pro Tools up right here, I can go maximize chapter 6. I can go, okay, 209. I scroll over to 209, and if I just hit space here, if we solo this track, right here. Beautiful. I'm exactly where I need to be. So let's see here. Now, did I maybe... Sometimes I like to try to get away with if the older take, i.e. the take that's on the left side of the cut, if the older take doesn't have the typo and that part of the take is good, i.e. that part of the take isn't the reason I did a new punch and roll there, then I'll try to use that so that I don't have to hit record again just because we're a little bit lazy. So let's hear what this sounds like. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Nope, I hate that. Doesn't always work. So we're going to start right here. So we're going to use that to give us our, actually we're going to do it right here. We're going to use that to give us our punch and roll sort of on-ramp of 2 seconds. And then we're going to read the rest of the line as it sits here in our positron proofing packet. So here we go. We're going to arm and narrate. You're done here tonight. And don't, you're done here tonight. And don't bother coming back. Actually, you know what? No, we're reading that a little bit more with a little bit more gusto. Let's listen to the context again. Okay. Eugene, you're done here tonight. And don't bother coming in tomorrow or any... Okay, that's going to be cuttable. So let's make the cut here. And then just looking at where this cut needs to happen. Looks like maybe here. Let's listen. Oh, I hate that. We're going to read the whole line. We're going to stop being lazy. You're done here tonight. And don't bother coming in tomorrow or any time after that. You hear me? Okay. Hoping that that's going to be good. All right. That is good enough. Hashtag good enough. All right. We've got, we are at 3 minutes 12. So useful to have that. Supposedly there's a like a certain tier or, version of a payment plan on Positron where they will, along with this online version of this pickup packet, they will, you can export out like chapter markers that will actually like mark on your timeline like where your pickups are. And I guess that would save some time, but it's not worth the time saved to me because I'm pretty fast at navigating throughout Pro Tools. So, but I know they've got different ones for all different DAWs, but for whatever reason, the Pro Tools option for exporting chapter markers, the Pro Tools one requires like a higher tier than all the other ones. Like, am I not being punished enough for working in Pro Tools by having to work in Pro Tools that you have to punish me more by making me pay more? Yeah, that's all right. All right, let's. We are at 3:12 for this next pickup. What do we got here? This is nice because they do something really smart here. These two pickups. These are 2 different pickups. They're close enough together that it would be silly. They're 2 seconds apart. It would be silly for them to separate that into 2 entries, and so they don't. It automatically combines them and assumes that like you're gonna be able to do both of these in one pickup. So we really like that. Okay, so we're just replacing this entire spot right here, and we'll be good to go. refuse to behave, and ankle-deep rivulets streamed. Big ol' mouth click. We're going to do the, this is a secret weapon. This is, the product is simply called Ice Drops. This is a Scott Brick secret that I picked up. It's sugar-free. It's just basically pure, what's it called? Erythritol or whatever. It's an artificial sweetener that you'll find in a lot of sugar-free stuff. And a side effect of it, let's see here, it's got, the text on it is so small, I feel like a boomer. Whatever it is, the artificial sweetener that's in this minty ice drop, a side effect is that it increases saliva production. So if you're feeling a little dry and, maybe you've been behind on your hydration a little bit, a quick fix is a little bit of that. And if my lady comes out here to say hello, I can quickly do that, and so that way I don't stink when I give her a smooch. All right, let's go. To behave, and ankle-deep rivulets streamed along the roadside toward Grayson Highway's 2 lanes. It was closing time. Good. All right. We're going to make the cut there. Beautiful. And we're going to make a cut right here. Cut that out. And then here. And we are going to listen to it. Let's try to make a cut here at 2 lanes. See if we like the end of that sentence better. I do like that better. Weird little mouth noise there. That we should be good to go there. Okay, next pickup. 6 minutes. Just go here. Had a middle finger ready, coupled with choice words. Okay. See, like, there's a reason this is important, because this isn't it's not a trivial, like, oh, it's just an extra syllable. Like, that changes the inflection of the entire sentence. The guy had a middle finger, up already, like, even like the way I read it actually doesn't make sense. Yeah, the correct reading of the sentence changes the emphasis and really the meaning of the entire sentence. So, thankfully, Positron caught us, and we're able to fix this. So we're actually going to start in the middle of this sentence and make the cut further in the sentence. Opened his mouth to warn, but the patron had a middle finger ready, coupled with his mouth to warn, but the patron had a middle finger ready, coupled with choice words for Eugene. The curmudgeon. Something I did there at the end there. I'm not a golfer, but I understand that follow-through is really important in your golf swing. So, like, once you hit the ball, in theory, it shouldn't matter what you do after that. You should be able to just, like, stop or throw the club or whatever. Like, it shouldn't matter to the path of the ball what you do after you strike it and it leaves the tee. But for just the way our brains work with, the conservation of motion and just our own sense of momentum. There's a physical momentum and there's a mental momentum. And so if here when I finish the pickup, I go ahead, I take the breath as I would if I was really narrating. I take the breath and I continue the next line. That kind of follow through makes sure that this part of this pickup isn't a throwaway. I don't want it to be a throwaway. So I narrate beyond that sentence into the next one as though I'm just going to carry on. And I think that follow through is helpful for me anyway. Shout out to all my golfers in the chat who play the worst game ever invented. Oh my God. I have an MBA, a big stupid business degree that obviously I'm using very well here. And like all my classmates, like, Moreland, you gonna go golfing with us? Like, no, I'll drink with you afterwards. That's my sport. That was my sport during my graduate degree was drinking. Okay. Gap's a bit long, but I won't shorten it too much. I don't want to second guess my original decision there. Okay. 7:15 is our penultimate pickup here. Let's take a listen. Yeah, now did I make that mistake twice? Okay. So here's a spot where the first time I read it, i.e. the clip on the left, the first time I read it, I didn't skip the line. The second time I read it, I just totally skipped the line. So I'm going to try to make a cut here that allows us to fix it without ever hitting the record button. So let's take a look here. Okay, the problem, maybe this will work. Maybe. The tambourade. It almost sounds like I'm saying tambourine. My N's and M's sometimes get a little bit crossed. We are real quick going to check these emails. A proposal reviewed. That is useless information. Thank you. And then a Voice123 audition notice. Okay. We don't have to. The Voice123 audition is not urgent, so we're going to continue on with the pickups here. Let's listen to this again. Well, obviously, I just screwed that up. What the hell just happened there? Is that right? What happened there? I just majorly screwed up that edit point. Yeah, I don't like the way that sounds. So we'll do just a little mini pickup here. Inked beneath the initials inked below the tambourade skull that had incorporated a bullet scar in its forehead. So there's good. We've got plenty of options here. We're going to say there's probably good. Obviously, you need to fix that. Let's even go back to here. I feel like incorporated. I kind of mumbled through that. Let's hear. We're being really nitpicky here, but we're actually going to come all the way back here. Oh wait, not that far. I want the word skull to be the transfer point. Where did I go? All right, I feel good about that. So this portion is the original recording that we did days and days ago. This portion is the punch and roll that replaced the end of this clip. So we recorded this clip at the end of this sentence. We were like, oh no, we'll pick it up. But then I screwed up when I did the punch and roll just to record here, and I skipped a whole line. But the only thing that we had to punch in was a couple words here just to make that transition sound nice and seamless. All right, final pickup at 10 minutes 28. We've got here. All right, we've got a nice breath right here. This is a breath, and we're going to do the pickup right before the breath, so it'll be nice and easy to just jump in and finish the sentence. The watchtower and ask, okay. I'm at the watchtower and ask, what the hell was he thinking driving like a bat? Okay. At the watchtower and ask, what the hell was he thinking driving like a bat out of Breckenridge? And if it wasn't him, okay. We've got some vehicle noise. I can see that in the waveform here. So we're going to wait a second and we're going to record that again. Such is life, living up here in beautiful Maine, vacation land. And unfortunately, that means vacationers. Hit that again. At the watchtower and ask, what the hell was he thinking driving like a bat out of Breckenridge? another car, and my own stomach growling. So, one external, one internal source of noise. Let's go again. Shower and ask what the hell was he thinking driving like a bat out of Breckenridge? And if it wasn't him, there we go. We finally got it. Okay. And we're probably going to keep the original of bat out of Breckenridge. Yeah. So I feel like this transition is completely seamless. Like you cannot tell that these are different takes. This transition, however, there's just a little bit, I think it's all in the breath, that it just briefly sounds like, whoa, there's something different there. So we're going to keep the original breath and see if we feel the same way about it. That fixed it. That solved it. People, like, if you've listened to enough audiobooks, then you've heard what we were worried about there before. You've heard like, oh, you're just listening along, and then suddenly just like one sentence sounds like it was recorded on a different planet. Just like, whoa, like the author's voice changed, like the room they're in changed, and all of those are real things. You're not crazy. Like those really happened. Sometimes it could just be, yeah, like different time of day, different level of hydration. Maybe they were a little bit sick. Who knows? Or if you're, some superstar that goes into a studio to record or something like that, maybe that same studio wasn't available. And it's just like, oh, it's just one pickup. It's just 2 lines. We can do it at this other studio or in someone's home setup. And so it just ends up sounding different. As quiet and dead as we like our booths to be, each booth still has a signature sound. And so that's why a lot of voice actors, narrators will, even if they upgrade their microphone, they will keep the old microphone. And that way, if they have to do a pickup way further down the line, or if a client comes back, especially for like, you'd see this more in voiceover, like, hey, you did this telephone, this IVR system for us. We need to update the greeting for, this new holiday, or you did this e-learning for, our HR like onboarding process, our hiring video, our new hire video. But like the OSHA requirements for these kinds of videos have changed, and we need to update it to remain compliant. If you still have the same microphone that you used, then obviously you're good to go, and you'll have a much better match on your sound. But if you've upgraded or changed from, I've got a TLM 103 here, and the next microphone that I want to buy is the MKH 416, that big shotgun mic, and that's great for voiceover. In fact, that's probably the most common voiceover mic. Whereas this one, I went with this one because I do so much music as well, and it was just a little bit more versatile for singing and recording guitars and stuff like that. So that's why I made this decision. But I still want to get that MKH 416 at some point. But if I did get the MKH 416, I would still keep this one because I want to be able to sound match for any of my past clients who need me to do an update or a pickup or whatever you want to call it. We are done with the pickups here. So what we're going to do is in Pro Tools, we're going to select the entire track. We're going to do our crossfades, and we're going to double check here. In Pro Tools, there's a little checkbox here, adjust existing crossfade shape and slope, and adjust existing crossfade length. We want to uncheck both of those. So we want to create new crossfades where there are none, i.e. everywhere we just did pickups, those edit points are hard cuts right now. None of them are crossfaded. So we want to create new crossfades at those points. We do not want to adjust any existing crossfades. I don't remember if we made any manual crossfades here, But those manual crossfades, like, we want them to be exactly how we made them manually. We do not want them to be adjusted to be our default length. We want to keep them so we make sure that these two boxes are unchecked. That's the most important thing. And 10 milliseconds is what I have found is perfect for voice work. So that's what I keep it at. So there we go. And I also don't get fancy with trying to make this, I want it to be like a beautiful S-curve. Like the equal gain, just the standard straight lines. It's only 10 milliseconds. No one's going to hear, and no one's going to care. I totally get the OCD. Like, I'm absolutely the kind of person who, like, Jade says, I've noticed that when I do pickups a day or two later, I have a hard time matching tone and pacing. I totally get that. I feel like we've done a pretty good job here today. Like, hearing this transition, I can hear it. We can hear it because we're listening for it, because we're very focused. But I would challenge someone to listen to this chapter and be like, can you spot the 5 places where there were pickups? I would challenge an average listener to be able to spot those. But I totally get what you're saying, and I think that having a routine, having like a set time of day, this is the exact same time of day that we recorded this. It is 3:24 on the East Coast here, and last week, I guess it was Thursday or Friday when we recorded this chapter, it was about the same time, about the same level of hydration. Like, I use a bottle, and like I make sure that I go through like usually 1 full bottle before I record, but I also am having a few cups of coffee. So like, I'm hydrated as hell, I'm caffeinated as hell, and I'm fully awake, but I'm not so worn out that my voice is thrashed or anything like that. So, but at the end of the day, like, people are used to hearing those cuts that can, the first time you hear it in an audiobook, yeah, it's a little jarring, but like, once you've listened to a few audiobooks where even the pros, I mean, Scott Brick, I can tell immediately when Scott Brick has punched. That's just, and that's fine. That's what it is. This thing, if you're doing, Scott Brick is doing 30-hour audiobooks, and he's knocking that out in a week. Like, he's a monster of productivity. And so if his pickups are if in a 30-hour audiobook, there's like 2 pickups that are like obvious, whatever, like, it's totally fine. The guy's won more Audis than I've taken breaths in my life. Yeah, it's a marathon, and a marathon is just put one foot in front of the other. You're not going to have perfect splits for the runner lingo. I don't think we actually applied the crossfades. Did we? Okay, we did. So now we're going to actually do the final render here. We're going to turn on our RX mouth declick. So now we've got the lovely delay going on, and we're going to bounce this. I'm going to call this chapter 6. Yes, 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 yes. Pro Tools asks me 4 times if I'm sure that I would like to overwrite. I had a train of thought going earlier, and it's gone, and that's okay. Yeah. Oh man. So Jade's talking about having another, having another set of ears, especially if it's, especially for proofing purposes. Absolutely. Like, the mantra is like, you don't want to proof your own work because you'll get hung up on like little minor details that no one else will notice, but then you'll also miss things that other people will notice. So that's why having something like Positron to proof the work is super, super important for me. Makes life way easier. Let's go ahead and, you don't have to do this if you are working on a project alone, but it just makes me feel good to go, I'm going to mark them all as fixed. That's nice. They're all green. And once you have 90 chapters and they're all green, ooh, that feels good. Yeah, we're feeling good here. So let's see here. It is 3:27. We're going to see real quick how long is our next chapter. Maybe we'll go ahead and narrate another chapter. Where are we? Here we are. And we just exported chapter 6. What's our next chapter? It's not chapter 7, it's chapter 8. And chapter 8 will take us about 15 minutes to narrate. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So let's get our script up, and we will get to work narrating. I will soon, trademark, soon, I will be making a video where I produce an entire finished hour of audio from this audiobook. And that will be, like, maybe I'll live stream the process, but I absolutely will be, like, editing that down to where, yeah, the actual, like, when I actually get to work, that will be basically an uncut portion of the video, but there will be sort of an introduction and then obviously an outro to sort of talk about, like, what I'm doing and why, and hopefully someone out there will find it useful. I know when I started narrating audiobooks, there's this guy, Mike Delgadio, who has the YouTube channel Booth Junkie, and he's done shorter videos where he's done like a few minutes of finished audio, showing the punch and roll technique and sort of his edit process. And when I was getting started, that was super, super useful. But I think it'd be useful not only on just that technique and process side of, like, showing, all right, this is what a whole hour looks like, but also showing people who are considering audiobook narration, showing them, like, this is what you're getting yourself into. If what I'm doing it'll probably be like a 2.5 to 3 hour video. Like, if that looks miserable to you, then maybe don't buy a microphone and an interface and treat your closet and do all this stuff only to discover, like, oh my God, I hate this. But if it's all, like, interesting and you, like, if you're into it, then yeah, maybe audiobook narration could be for you. So we are going to arm, and we're going to go back over here to Pro Tools. We are on not chapter 7. We are on chapter 8. Here we go. And we're going to zoom in into the level that I feel comfortable at. And then here we go. Absolutely, yeah. Time. Everything is time, Jade. Everything is time. Like, it's why I, like, track, like, to the second I track. Once I hit record, like, we're going to be... I discovered I had been using the Rubik's Cube timer, and I forgot that I had switched long ago to using this timer because I just like the way it works better. So we have switched over back to using this timer, and it's much more functional, and we're good to go. So we're going to use this stopwatch, and then we'll be putting in the time that we get into this cell here. This is chapter 8, and this is our estimate of how long it's going to take us. Actually, probably will take us another minute or so longer than this. So I'll say this will take 16.5, maybe 17 minutes to narrate this chapter. And then we'll go ahead and edit. So we'll produce, I would guess this will be 7, maybe 8 minutes of finished audio. We'll find out how much we're going to get out of this. So we've got the stopwatch up. We've got our script ready to go. And see. So we are getting into the first meeting of the two protagonists. So to give you an idea of where we are, so the female protagonist, she has just crashed the stolen Jeep that she's driving, and she's driving Ryan, our protagonist. She's driving Ryan's uncle's Jeep. She accidentally killed him, Ryan's uncle. She currently, at this point in the story, has this horrible curse where it's sort of the what's the X-Men character? Is it Jean Grey? Is she the one that when she touches someone they die or whatever? That's the that's the deal going on. So Ryan's uncle, tried to pat her on the arm, oh, you'll be okay. Just come in and I'll give you a ride. Just patted her on the arm, and he perished. And so she's terrified. She wants to get away and avoid people so that she doesn't hurt anybody else with this curse that she's got. And she ends up crashing her Jeep in the rain. And so Ryan has spotted this very unique Jeep and has been tailing it, and she's crashed into the lake, and he's coming up on the wreck, and sort of we pick up from there. It's Rogue, not Jean Grey. Who am I thinking? Who am I thinking? I'm not a comic book kind of guy. Jade says that it would be good to see the extra time on the video. Yeah, it'll be a long one, but I've already written out sort of the intro and sort of planned out the structure of it, so I just have to do it. Isn't that the thing with everything? Oh yeah, we love to make plans, but no one wants to do the thing, so I got to just do the thing at this point. So sometime soon, trademark, it'll happen. So let's get to work here. Let's do this thing. Let's record chapter 8. We've got the stopwatch on, so we're just going to hit play, go to our script, and now hit record. 8. Ryan heard tires screech, metal scrape, and the crunch of loose stone before a splash. He rounded the bend. A rare Wyoming elk. My stomach's growling. Bend. A rare Wyoming elk dashed in front of the truck. Bend. A rare Wyoming elk dashed in front of the truck, then twisted toward the mountainside. He swerved left and hit the elk's moving back half. The right headlamp went dark as the animal whirled into the ditch. He hit the brakes, and the truck slid a few feet. Once stopped, we've got a loud truck. Ooh, it's a loud... That might be a Harley. Welcome to Maine. All right. Ditch. He hit the brakes, and the truck slid a few feet. Once stopped. Thank you. Slid a few feet. Once stopped, he eased the truck to the brink. Few feet. Once stopped, he eased the truck to the brink. Eased. Jesus. Slid a few feet. Once stopped. All right. Few feet. Once stopped, he eased the truck to the brink. He flipped on the hazards. Oh my God. We're going sentence by sentence. To the brink. He flipped on the hazards and left the one working headlight shining bright. He opened the glove box and found his tactical knife under a holstered Glock. He hopped out, shoved the knife in a back pocket, and started down the steep embankment. He slipped and caught himself on a blade of stone and sliced... Come on. Meant. He slipped and caught himself on a blade of stone and sliced his left palm. Blood flowed, but he gave it a glancing notice and focused on the vehicle's submerged lights as it eked toward a steep drop. Its engine burbled, and the headlights went out. He slid off his jacket and tossed it on the rocks by the lake's edge. He removed his belt in one fluid motion and secured it around his left forearm. He strode through the frigid water, then swam a short distance to the Jeep, which was now completely underwater. He grabbed his knife and dove. He shattered the window with the glass breaker. I'm assuming the knife, I guess that's what we're assuming the glass breaker is. I know that's like a little tool that you can keep in your car, I guess. And dove. He shattered the window with the glass breaker. Uncle Mel wasn't in the driver's seat. It was hard to make out who was, but even in the dark, with blurry underwater vision, he could make out a petite, feminine form whose head rested against the steering wheel. He reached in, pushed the unconscious lady into the seat, and grabbed the seat belt with his sliced hand. We're going to start at this breath here. Where are we? Oh, yeah. Lady into the seat, and grabbed the seat belt with his sliced hand. Using his awkward right, he sliced through the belt. The knife slipped from his hand and fell between the seat and door. He grabbed the lady's arms and pulled her free as the vehicle tilted and rolled into the underwater valley. He locked his arms under her armpits and kicked to the surface. He continued kicking until he touched bottom, then carried her petite frame to the shore. He laid the lady on shale. There we go. Scroll down here a little bit. Shore. He laid the lady on shale at the shoreline. The rain fell hard and washed away blood trickling from a large gash on her forehead. She wasn't breathing. Ryan swept blonde hair from her face and cleared her throat. He began CPR and felt a pleasant burning sensation in his hands and lips. I'm going to pause for a second. So Ryan, our protagonist, is touching skin to skin with this person who has the rogue curse. Thank you again, Jade, for correcting me there. She's got the rogue curse, so he's touching skin to skin with her, so there's this sort of dramatic irony that's sort of building up, like, you know, we don't know if he's going to drop dead immediately like his uncle did, or maybe, just maybe, there's something special about Ryan Mender. So we, as the narrator is a character. The character of the narrator is sort of, we're having fun with the listener. So let's see here. This is she wasn't breathing. Okay. Prior to this, she had put on like super long sleeves, and she was wearing gloves and like turtleneck and like a beanie. So like she has done everything that she can to protect other people from touching her skin. And so like at this point, like, oh, you could go like, oh, maybe like when he's rescuing her from the cab of the Jeep, like maybe he didn't touch her skin. But now, like, this is the line in the story where like everything changes. We're only in chapter 8 of a 90-plus chapter book. And in chapter 8, this is the first like really big hinge point where these two characters are meeting for the first time, and something supernatural is going to happen here. And we don't know if it's what we thought was our main character. Maybe he just dies here and it does like a Game of Thrones thing where it's like, haha, fooled you. Or it's going to take a different route. I'm going to shut up and get back to work and narrate. Press space there. Come back to our script. And now we're here. And we're going to start reading after she wasn't breathing. Here we go. She wasn't breathing. Ryan swept blonde hair from her face and cleared her throat. He began CPR and felt a pleasant burning sensation in his hands and lips. Then his mouth began tingling uncomfortably, like he brushed his teeth with icy hot. He shook it off and continued intermittent breaths and chest compressions. He felt dizzy as the stinging sensation spread over his face. Ow, my face. He felt dizzy as the stinging sensation spread over his face, neck, chest, up his arms, and down to his feet. He tried to break the lip lock, but a jolt, like grabbing a live wire, plunged him into full dark. A pinpoint of light broke the black and grew like a train rolling toward him, as if he were tied to a track. The light hit him, and his senses cleared. Snippets of someone else's... Just cleared. Snippets of someone else's memories followed. They belonged to the woman. Her eyes were sunken. She was frail as a rail, shivering, coughing, and curled up on a thin, dirty mattress in what looked like a gray stone prison cell. The cell morphed into something else. The young woman suddenly appeared healthy and bright as she sat alone on a bench surrounded by trees. She was reading an open textbook as students weighed down with books and backpacks hurried past. Ryan tried to focus on her face and found himself standing in a church filled for a funeral. The younger version of the woman was crying over an open casket containing a senior gentleman. The scene changed again, and the man in the casket... Are we happy with the last line of that one read? I think it's fine. So we'll start here. Wait for the truck to pass. If anyone, Jade or anyone else, if you can hear a truck while I'm narrating and I don't stop, then drop 100 emotes to let me know. Truck. That's silly. All right. Senior gentleman. The scene changed again, and the man in the casket was alive and walking up a steep sidewalk on a rainy night. Seattle's Space Needle towered in the background. The grave-faced man continued to an apartment building with a secured entrance. Used needles were... Used needles. Where am I? I just lost my spot. Okay. Secured entrance. Used needles were scattered at his feet. A homeless man near the door had a handout. The gentleman gave him a $5 bill, then punched in a code. He opened the door, stepped inside, and climbed 2 flights. He moved down a hall with deliberate speed and stopped at apartment number 313. The man looked angry as he knocked. No one answered. Apartment 313, that is a reference to the prior book and events later in this book, so that's why I really hit 313. Just little things like that make a difference in the narration. As he knocked, no one answered. He unlocked and opened the door. Sitting on the floor was a young girl, no older than 3 or 4. Her face was filthy, as was her pink dress. Her head turned. An instant smile lightened the scene as deep blue eyes came alive. She screamed, "Peepaw!" and ran to the man. He picked her up and turned her head away from the open bedroom door. He peered inside. On the bed was a woman and a man who looked as if they'd been dead for a few days. Both wore tourniquets, and each had a syringe hanging from that arm. The gentleman's ire melted as he held the girl and wept. He looked up and around as if someone was watching. Ryan was in the apartment, dripping water and blood on a well-stained emerald carpet. The elderly... All right. Good. Emerald carpet. Emerald carpet. The elderly gentleman glared... Carpet. The elderly gentleman glared at the intruder. He wanted to look away, but couldn't escape the bottomless abyss in the man's pale blue eyes. The man nodded. No words needed to be said. His eyes revealed the scene. Ryan knew what the man required of him, and it was a request he couldn't refuse. Or could he? The gentleman left with his granddaughter and locked Ryan inside the memory with a dead daughter and her decaying boyfriend. He returned to the lake shore in the pouring rain, and his heart ached as he desperately worked to save the little girl in the pink dress as the gentleman's eyes prodded him on. He broke the lock and shook his head. Here we go. On. He broke the lock and shook his head. The tingling and burning dissolved, but he remained dazed. He regarded the woman's face and felt a compulsion to mend her and protect her at any cost. What the fuck? I gotta get some sleep, he thought. I gotta get some sleep, that's how I'll do it. What the fuck? I gotta get some sleep, he thought. The woman... Let's give more of a pause there. Little dramatic pause. He thought. The woman... he thought. Getting some croaky noises, that's okay. How much more do we got? Oh, we got one more page left. We are schmoovin', he thought. The woman coughed, spat water, and coughed again. Her eyes shot open, and she kicked him in the balls. He grimaced and tried to catch his breath. Before he could, the woman slammed her palms into his chest, sending him airborne into the water. He inhaled lake, then popped up, hacking in time to see the woman frantically scurry up the embankment at unnatural speed. He held his crotch and sucked in enough to croak, "Stop! I'm trying to help you!" The woman ignored him and was out of sight when she passed the edge of the road. He heard frenzied movement up the mountain, and second laters. So in addition to having the deadly touch, she also has superhuman strength and all that kind of stuff. So full on cursed badass. Where are we? Past the edge of the road. Where is that? There it is. Past the edge of the road. He heard frenzied movement up the mountain, and seconds later, foot patters faded into raindrops. He shook off stomach-churning... Drops. He shook off stomach-churning pain as he wondered if he'd still be able to give Alex a brother. Come on. Raindrops. He shook off stomach-churning pain as he wondered if he'd still be able to give Alex a brother or sister. He suspected a rib fracture or two, and his left hand was still leaking. He stepped from the water, grabbed his jacket, wrapped the gash, and struggled bow-legged up the loose rock with his good hand, fighting through splinting... Okay. Jacket, wrapped the gash, and struggled bow-legged up the loose rock with his good hand, fighting through splinting pain caused by deeper breaths and slight twists. He assessed the truck damage and almost sighed, but gagged on fetid air from what the elk left behind. He tried not to double over as his chest expanded a little too much. Let's reread that. Behind. He tried not to double over as his chest expanded a little too much. He held his breath as he shook his head. The bumper's right side was bent and the grill was totaled. Feces splattered the left side like mud. Fresh blood, fur, and pieces of skin were caked. Right, this is a typo that isn't corrected in the manuscript, but we have corrected it with the author. Like mud. Fresh blood, fur, and pieces of skin caked the busted headlamp and radiator bug guard. Mud. Fresh blood, fur, and pieces of skin caked... Come on. Mud. Fresh blood, fur, and pieces of skin caked the busted headlamp and radiator bug guard. He heard death rattles from the ditch. Let's reread that one. Bug guard. He heard death rattles from the ditch. He went to the glove box and unholstered his Glock. Here we go. Stop the timer. 14:58. Let's go ahead and enter that in here. Chapter 8, indeed. 001458. So we actually we're ahead of pace. Our estimate there was 15:47, and we nailed it in just under 15 minutes. So we're feeling good there. Do we have... Ooh, we've got a voiceover job. So we're going to do the voice. We're going to look at it first, see if it's worth doing. And if it is, we got 2 jobs. Let's go. Okay. So rather than edit this right now, this is a long e-learning thing. We're going to open up our audition project, save our progress there. So this is the life. This is it. Whether you're doing audiobooks, voiceover, whatever it is you're doing, you want to always be on the lookout for auditions. And when they come in, if they're worth doing, you do them. So we've got a script here for construction company. I'm going to assume this is Bratian. We're going to look them up on YouTube. And let's see here. Bratian. Don't judge me on my YouTube recommendations. Bratian, let's see here. This, what is this? Oh, that's skateboarding, which okay. So we don't have, this company does not have an active YouTube channel, at least not one that's easy to find. So we're just going to go with Bratian. So let's find out. And maybe we don't get the job because we pronounce Bratjen wrong. All right. Hold on. Oh, your margins are insane. Okay. Can we please grab the whole Oh my god. Oh my god. This is a problem. Control A. Can we please have margins? Thank you. Okay. Now we can read it. My god, they really did give us the whole script. Okay. Now is that readable? It is. It's a little awkward feeling, but that's all right. We need to be quick. Welcome to Bratjen Construction Company's comprehensive safety program. Hello, I am Jared Ratjen, and this is Ben Bratcher, and we're here to guide you through our essential safety protocols. Safety is our number one priority, and we're dedicated to ensuring the well-being of our project team members. We expect your full cooperation in following all safety procedures and encourage you to speak up if you see anything that needs attention. Your actions make all the difference in our daily on-site operations. We value you as part of our project team and appreciate your cooperation in putting safety first on all Bratjen projects. Wow, I actually made it through that whole first section without a pause. We're actually going to just deliver that. We don't need to do any edits, just at the head and tail. There's the head, there's the tail. Did I say the word project's weird? I feel like I did. Yeah, I did. We're just going to punch there. First, on all Bratjen projects. I feel like I still said it a little weird, but less weird than before. That's fine. Select everything, hit the crossfades. We're schmoving. Mouth declick is on. This is Bratjen. We're just going to call it that. Bratjen. I cannot wait to find out how horribly I've mispronounced this. It's going to be hilarious. Let's do this. Put in our standard quote there. Select the response. And 6 responses in. So we are response number 7 or close to it. Maybe we're number 8 or something. But that feels really good to get something in early. Let's go back. Looks like we're going to go long today. We're going to go beyond 4 p.m. Eastern time, and that's okay because I do still want to go back and edit that last chapter in the audiobook. This says, okay, it's been reported because the job is intended for another talent. So what we might see is that the job information includes details like, hey, Chris, if you could just read this real quick. This would be a case where this job was meant for someone named Chris, and instead they accidentally posted it as a public project rather than a direct invite. So let's scroll down and see. Yep, there it is. Jim, our EU team did this short video on da-da-da-da-da. So the client has intended this to go in a direct offer to Jim, but instead, and we are not the Jim in question. Unfortunately, we're not the Jim. That's okay. It happens. We're going to just archive that and not worry about it. Let's see here. Do we have another one? Or is it's on Voice123? Let's see if any of these Voice123s are worth doing here. We are briefly going to come here so that we don't reveal any client names. We're checking all 4 of these to see if client names are revealed, and on all 4, they are not. So let's go into this one here. Podcast intro, voice of God narrator. Think Morgan Freeman or David Attenborough. Like, okay, $50. I guess I can see why you couldn't get Morgan Freeman or David Attenborough. Okay. You know what? Just for fun, just for the sake of flexing the muscle here, we're going to go ahead and do this. In a world filled with conflict and a universe comprised of differences, there's one thing that absolutely everything shares in common. We all exist. Simple. Do that. No further editing required. Not even going to listen to it. Hit our crossfades. Turn on RX. bounce. We're calling this podcast intro VOG. Enter, accept invite, hit this, grab it, hit our generic, and submit. That was pretty fast. That was what? 90 seconds to go from seeing it, deciding to do it, to submitting it. That's how fast we want to be all the time. Let's take a look at here. EcoVadis. Okay. All of this looks good. Read tone should be approachable, but gravitas. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. This looks like a good one, too. I think we're going to do this one. It's got a better budget. Still not a great budget. Sometimes, though, we do the low budget things like that last one just for the practice and just to keep goosing the algorithm. If we keep being on so picky that we're only submitting like 2 auditions a week, well, like that's not great. So we don't want to be that picky. So sometimes we take the lower paying auditions because we're also like on those lower paying ones because like the superstar talent aren't going to submit for a $50 job. And so by comparison, we sound really great on those $50 auditions. And so we're much more likely to get likes, thumbs up on our auditions and get hired, which again, in that case, it's not, $50, like whatever. I don't care. But I am really doing it for the algorithm. For the same reason we don't do a lot of auditions that we otherwise might like to do. We pass on them because of the algorithm. Sometimes we do a low-paying job because of the algorithm. So that's what we're doing right now. This is all about the algorithm. Here we go. EcoVadis. EcoVadis? Vadis. Vadis? I'm going to say Vadis. EcoVadis gives your business the ability for small changes in sustainability. Okay, I get it now. Takes a while for that sentence to pay off. EcoVadis gives your business the ability. EcoVadis gives your business the ability for small changes in sustainability to add up to big impact. EcoVadis gives you the EcoVadis gives you the full sustainability picture, however your business may scale. Because sustainability is everybody's. Because sustainability is everyone's business. Okay? Short, sweet, simple. Here we go. We're starting here, and I think we didn't get this second line until, God, it was like, did I get it by here? Maybe? Let's shorten this gap a little bit, and in fact, we're going to delete the breath in the meantime. A little too short. Cool. Easy. Hit our crossfades, turn on declick, bounce. We're calling this just EcoVadis. EcoVadis, enter. Accept the invite. Click here. Boom. And boom. So we've done enough auditions in our day that we are pretty fast at navigating. Like, we know that when we're on Voice123, we kind of like, we know where to click. We know what to click and sort of to pre-position our mouse. We're using like speedrunner, like video gaming tactics to like be fast on the website because, you know, that could cost you a place in line if you're a little too slow just navigating the website here. So let's see here. Golf country, football city. It's a hockey ad and it's a Florida. Does Florida have a professional hockey team? Okay. We're going to pass on this one because the sports announcer promo voice thing, I don't really have that down super solid. Like there is an art and a skill to having that cadence that sports announcers have, and that's not necessarily, they're not looking for the sports announcer like the live calling voice, but this particular flavor of promo is really not in our wheelhouse, and therefore on Voice123, because we're so concerned about the algorithm, we're going to pass on that one. And likewise, we'll probably pass on this one because it's football related. I am not a big sports guy. I'm super into like skateboarding. I still, even at my age, I do get on the skateboard every once in a while. This is also not right for us because they're looking for black talent. So this, even if I was a big football fan and felt really comfortable with my sports related reads, this would obviously not be for us. So we just close that one out. So that is all of the voiceover auditions that have come in. Nope, we've got a new one, and we're getting to this one before the email has even hit our inbox. So we're going to be super, super early on this. This is great. And we're 100%, even though the role is businessman. We're businessman here. Okay. Target audience is product developers, engineers, aerospace, so they want a really professional tone here. Fluid forming is the most precise, repeatable, and accurate sheet metal hydroforming process available. All right. Super straightforward industrial read. Here we go. Fluid forming is the most... Had a weird noise over here somewhere. Fluid forming is the most precise, repeatable, and accurate sheet metal hydroforming process available for low to medium volume production runs. Fluid forming... Oh. What? It's the exact same line twice. Right? Okay, it's the same line. There's no other process that can go from 0.02 of an inch titanium for fuel cells all the way up to 1/4. We're going to do a punch and roll at the end of this line. Production runs. There's no other process that can go from 0.02 of an inch titanium for fuel cells all the way up to 1/4 of an inch stainless steel for structural parts. Let's do that again. Production runs. There's no other process that can go from 0.02 of an inch... Come on. Burns. There's no other process that can go from 0.02 of an inch Come on. Thank you for the notice that Florida apparently has 2 hockey teams, the Lightning and the Panthers. That is news to me. Good to know, though. Production runs. There's no other process that can go from 0.02 of an inch titanium for fuel cells all the way up to 1/4 of an inch stainless steel for structural parts. I kind of don't like the way I read that. Production runs. There's no other process that can go from 2,000... You know what? Never mind. I liked that read just fine. In the interest of being fast, we're going to be okay with not being perfect. People don't hire you because you gave a perfect read. They hire you because they liked your voice, and they liked just it's really, it comes down to the sound. It really is just the sound of your voice, and the particulars of your read are usually not it. We're going to call this fluid forming. Fluid forming. And reply. Use our normal response template, and 390 is our quote. Select the file. There's the audio. And as soon as that uploads, we hit send. And we are number... You can actually see what number you were in line. If you immediately go to answered and then click this, we can see that we were number 5 in line. I don't think that if you came back 10 minutes from now, I don't think you can see what place you were in line. That might be something worth tracking. Okay, here are all my jobs that I've booked. Is there a correlation? Like, do I, only book when I'm in the first 10 responses, or do I have good success if I'm in the first 30 responses. You know, to be able to find out like where's the cutoff where you really start to see it drop off and you're likely not being listened to at all. I'd be interested. Maybe I should start tracking that information, but it's just another bit of data to keep track of. Do we have another? Okay. So we've got this lovely email from Voice123, proposal reviewed. It means nothing. We don't know any other information, and it's not helpful to us at all. So we're going to go back, turn this off, prepare. A thing that I do, so just there, when I finished recording, this is how my timeline looked. Do future you a favor by, before you exit out of this, or even like if you're just chatting, do yourself a favor and get ready to record the next thing that you're going to have to record. Because right now, I'm not ready. This track is maximized. I'm not going to record on this track. So let's minimize this track. Let's maximize the next track. Let's get to the zoom level I like to be at. There it is. I know you probably couldn't tell or see what was going on there, but there's a zoom level that I like to be at. I also deactivated the RX because I can't record with that on. And I'm going to solo this track. So now all I have to do, if a job comes in right now, all I have to do is hit Shift-R to arm this track to record, and then I can hit record, and here I am, off to the races. That's it. But if I had to do all that other stuff, yeah, I'm fast enough to where it's only a few seconds, but in those first 5 minutes after a job gets posted, you see, we were pretty quick, and we were 5th in line. And if we had to take 10 seconds to, I gotta minimize this, maximize that, that might have been enough to make us 6th in line. And that kind of thing actually might be the difference in getting hired or not. So we do that. And now we're going to go back to our audiobook project, and we are going to edit what we've got. We'll upload it into Positron, and then just like last time we were doing audiobook work, we're going to call it a day after we upload it to Positron. We're not going to go through the full proofing process of doing pickups and all that. We're just going to upload, and as soon as it starts to upload to Positron, we'll say adios. But for right now, I'm going to copy this green bit here because that's our opening thing. And I don't think we have, do we? Hold on. All right, there's no setting here. We've got our standard sort of process for when, okay, you've got the chapter name, which is what I say here. I'm going to say 8. And then there might be a setting, noon Eastern time, Arizona, or whatever. I've got sort of a set thing that I do for those. That's not here. So it's going to be really, really simple to go from start of chapter to the main body of the chapter. So we're going to, where is our timer? Here it is. We already tracked our 1458. We've got it here. I would guess that this is going to take us about a minute 30, maybe less to edit. This is going to be super, super fast. So we're basically going to hit space, and then I'm going to start going zoom, 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 zoom. And 3, 2, 1. Paste there, zoom, drag, grab this silence here, drag down this gap, and now I'm tabbing and dragging, tabbing and dragging. I might end up maximizing. Yeah, I might end up maximizing this window because right now, so we'll do that really quick. There we go. Now we can see what we're doing. So now we're schmoovin'. And I think we did a pretty clean job on the punch and roll on this. I don't think we're going to have any awkward spots where we're trying to like splice between words or anything like that. I think we did a pretty good job of grabbing stuff at the end of sentences or right prior to a big breath. And that makes all of those edit points super, super easy. We're going to be a little bit nitpicky and grab that mouth noise that we saw there. You'll learn your own voice, like what certain sounds look like, what the waveform looks like for your own voice. Generally, like voices are going to look more or less the same. Like a breath looks like a breath for the most part. But But even like for yourself, you'll be able to recognize like, okay, that's a catch breath, one of those breaths that some people will tend to lean on a little bit because it can add some drama to a read. There we go. Minute 37. We were pretty close on our estimate there. We're going to grab this whole thing, apply our fades, and we're not going to turn on declick because it doesn't matter for sending to positron for proofing. It doesn't matter about the declick. So we're going to enjoy a faster export time by not having the declick on. And we're going to go over here to positron. Where are we? Here we go. We'll zoom out a little bit here. And we're going to find our file. Where are we? Bounces, audiobooks. Here's the book. And I just upload the MP3s. You can upload WAV files, but we don't do that. We just upload the MP3s because I don't want to sit around and wait for an MP3 to upload. And so there we go. Let's enter in our times on our handy dandy little spreadsheet there. So 1:37, that's our edit time. So here we go. We got 00, 01, 37. And then the length of the file, I can see over here in this window, the length of the file is 8 minutes, 21 seconds. So 00, 08, 21. So right here live on the stream, we produced 8 minutes and 21 seconds of finished hours of this audiobook. Now, let's look at the ratio. Ooh, buddy, a 1.99 per finished hour ratio. That feels good. We feel great about that. And that's with shooting the shit a little bit during the stream. That is, love to see that. Now, obviously that 1.99 doesn't take into account a lot of things. It doesn't take into account that we're going to have to do pickups because I don't bother tracking the time on the pickups. The pickups are the pickups. That's just what they are. It doesn't take into account all the file management that I do on the back end of waiting for things to upload into ACX. It doesn't take into account the pre-read of the book. That's another basically 1x multiplier that you could add to your ratio. Maybe a little less if you're a good speed reader. But yeah, there's a lot. But for me, I'm glad just to see number go lower, dopamine released. So we feel good about that. All right. I think that's all we've got for the show today, for the big old voiceover audition show. We will reload one more time. Jobs. Let's take a look here. Nothing there. Nothing here. And we're going to trust that there's nothing new on ACX. Surely. Yeah, nothing new on ACX. So that is it. I want to thank Jade for chatting, for stopping by, and for anyone else watching. Hello. If you leave a comment on YouTube, I will respond. I'll get a little notification and I'll respond. Check out the video that I posted to YouTube. I posted a video earlier today, actually. It's only like 7 or 8 minutes long, if that. I think it's closer to 7 minutes. And it's talking about a recent audiobook that I did that was a barter deal for a banjo. And it was a memoir, this crusty old sea captain. It was really, really fun, and it's a fun little video. And I think that audiobook narrators in particular will enjoy that and sort of maybe spark some creative ideas about ways that you can be creative in your business. So if that's the case, that will make me very happy. But either way, thanks for coming by. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow. Early. We're starting early tomorrow. We're going to start at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I will update the schedule that I've got on Twitch. We'll try 1 p.m. And if we still feel like we're getting into some of these auditions too late, maybe we'll try noon. I don't want to go too much earlier than that because I am a night owl and I value my sleepy times. So thanks for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern and we'll go from there. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.